technology store. Oh yeah, Alan Lang watching top of the flare. Movie and TV show reviews that you need. Film threats on fire, we're planting the seeds. Film threat, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. From blockbusters to indie gold. Oh yeah, Chris and Alan break the mold. Pop your corn, turn down the lights. Get ready to groove through movie nights. Film threat, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather.
Welcome everyone.
2, 3. Grab your popcorn.
Welcome everyone to the Friday Film Thread live.
My
stream.
camera's not working.
Yeah, what the hell is going
Alan,
on?
take over.
Don't turn this music down. Why can't I do this? All right. Hey, welcome to the Friday Film Thread live stream. I'm Alan Ding, editor-in-chief of Film Thread. Chris Gore, his camera is not working. And we've got a lot of story going on. We got a lot of reviews. The big one is we are going full spoiler into Snow White. So hopefully at least 5 of you have seen it since yesterday. So we can have a conversation about this. I've got a lot to say about it. We also have other films that have come out in theaters. The Alto Knights, starring Robert De Niro in the dual role. And we have Magazine Dreams starring Jonathan Majors, which I have a lot to say about. Let's see. So let's, hey, no, actually, we got to do the opening, right? Don't we? So pull that, take that comment down. And clearly I'm in the wrong thing here. All right, so let's get this started. All right, so where is Chris Gore? I'm looking in the back room and he is not here. So let's see who's in the chat before Chris comes out. Let's see. All right. Sorry, been thrown here a bit. Hey, from M for 50. Thank you for that. Can y'all give me a shout out? Trying to grow my subscribers on my channel. I started doing this on movies, anime, video games, and I'm also filming random adventures. The last one was at Comic-Con for the new Doctor Who exhibit. Thanks. So M, yeah, what's your YouTube channel? Because it's just M.
Thank you, M. That's very generous. Apologies for the rough start this morning. My camera decided not to work. But we're back.
Yeah, but drop a link to your YouTube channel in the chat. And but yeah, I'm kind of interested in going to that Doctor Who exhibit at the Comic-Con Museum sometime soon. So, hey, Chris, how's it going?
Rough start to the morning, but I'm only 1 cup of coffee in. Things will get better. Things will get better because Snow White is here, and we are all very excited to talk about it. But we have a lot of other movies and news stories to get to, and a lot of those news stories are related to Snow White. A couple quick things. Reminder to support Film Threat. That's right. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. I'm wearing one of our new shirts. We've got our superhero collection. So,
yeah, I've got the hoodie.
Are you wearing it now?
One of the classic hoodies here. Yeah.
The classic hoodie.
There you go. The
superhero
hoodie
style. I've got our Superman inspired shirt. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. Also join us as a member. Lots of member exclusive videos. You can also win things, access to our Discord. It's great. It's great. Membership has its privileges. And another reminder, next week, a week from today, is the Credo 23 Film Festival. It's March 28th through 30th. You can get more info at credo23filmfest.com. It's the Anti-AI Human Creativity Festival hosted by Justine Bateman. There will be panels. There will be movies and a lot of discussion. It's at the American Legion Hall in Hollywood. Let's take a look. Film Threat is one of the sponsors of the event. Alan and I will be there on the weekend. It's also the same weekend as WonderCon, so we are double dipping. Very busy weekend for us next week.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna for sure be there opening night on the 28th at the Credo Film Festival.
But I will not, because I have a panel on Friday night, but you will be there.
I will be there, yeah.
Well, there you go. Cool.
And then
One
we'll
of us
figure
will.
it out from there.
All right. Lots to talk about today, but I was in Hollywood last night. Yes, I was bar hopping in Hollywood, which was fun with my friend Shane. Went to Bordner's, went to Jameson's. We went to the Scum and Villainy Cantina, the Star Wars bar. Crazy. I picked up this right outside. This is all over Hollywood. It is a coupon for Snow White. Yes, they are giving away coupons.
Wow.
And this coupon allows you to, you can see Snow White at the El Capitan. And for $20, you get a special discounted ticket, which includes reserve seat, small popcorn, and fountain drink.
How much?
That's right. $20.
$20. That's actually pretty good for the El Capitan.
Not a bad deal. And we have a lot of Snow White news, so let's get to it. Out of the gate, Snow White is rotten. That's right. Let me share screen. The reviews are in. Audience reviews. I think the audience score will actually be pretty good. The current audience, or the current critic score, is at 46%. It would be ironic if the critic score was 37%, because the movie came out in 1937. There. But I predict the audience score will be much higher. Somewhere between 70, 80%. I could be wrong. We'll know on
I feel like
Monday.
it'll be 90. I feel like it'll be 90.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
you are
the way bots work. I think this movie has a great shot at being a 90%er.
You are more optimistic than I, but no one cares about critic score. They just don't. Because Snow White, it's all about the box office. Alan, if you would bring up the story, Snow White makes $3.5 million in previews. I'd say that's below average previews for a tentpole blockbuster movie, especially one coming from Disney. Alan, if you would, from Variety.
Yes.
Read this story.
Yes. Disney's latest live-action remake, Snow White, starring Rachel Zegler as the beloved princess, has debuted with 3.5 million in Thursday previews and is projected to earn 45 million to 55 million domestically in its opening weekend, with an additional 50 million internationally.
Wait, repeat that. Go back a second.
Okay. Yeah. So domestically, they're looking at 45 to 55 million. They're looking at a total of 100 million when you globally or worldwide.
Okay. So that estimate of the domestic is much lower than they've said in previous weeks. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but I think they're right in terms of it'll probably be 45 to 55 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. What else does the story say?
Okay. While its launch aligns with Dumbo 2019, Tim Burton's version, it falls short of The Little Mermaid, which opened at 95 million domestically. With a hefty $250 million production cost plus marketing, the film will need a strong family appeal to turn a profit. Director Mark Webb says this version introduces directed by Mark Webb, this version introduces new songs, a different love interest, and Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers' The Alto Knights, starring Robert De Niro, is struggling to earn just $2 to 3 million, despite its $45 million budget.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, we shall see on Monday how this plays out. I think it will underperform opening weekend. It may have, here's the unpredictability. It may have legs.
Yeah.
You know what recent movie did very well that was a terrible movie?
Mufasa.
Read my mind, Alan.
Mufasa.
No. Mufasa. So Mufasa did very well. Initially underperformed, And then it's Mufasa, a movie that opened in December.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe it's still in theaters. If I'm not
Is still in theaters in the top 10. Now it's at the bottom of the top 10, but it's still making a couple mil a week.
Yep.
Snow White could have legs with families and walk up business, not reserved, because I watched a lot of other reviews of people on YouTube who I like, and I watch a lot of YouTube reviews, people I agree with, people I might disagree with, but I like a diversity of opinion. And it was hard even for people who tend to be very supportive of Disney to even say that they like this film. Everyone kind of agrees on the sort of thing, the flaws that it has. We'll get into more of a deep dive spoiler review later in the show, but this box office is not surprising. But I'm telling people, it's all about second, third, fourth weekend. You know, it could have legs.
I know it's going to be about first month, second month, third month, and it'll limp along, but it could limp along to the $400 to $500 million mark. The other, along with Mufasa, the other Disney film that performed exactly the same way was Elemental, a weird teenage love story that really underperformed that opening weekend, but limped its way to profitability by the end of its theatrical run.
I mean, look, Snow White is a brand. There's no denying it. Snow White is a brand, one of the most popular brands within Disney. I'll show you kind of why it's such a popular brand and they're doing so much. I'm gonna go to my browser history here. You're a PlayStation 5 guy?
I'm a PlayStation 5 owner. Yes.
You are an owner of a PlayStation 5.
Don't ask me when the last time I played it was, but
yeah, well, there is a Snow White PS5. It's not a game. It's kind of an add-on to a game that already exists. That's out. It's called Disney Speedstorm. Have you heard of this?
Oh yes,
I'm going to show this.
I've heard of it. Yes.
Have you heard of it? Okay, it's one of those racy, fun games where you get characters and whatnot. This is how popular Snow White is. By the way, this little teaser trailer is 37 seconds. Let's take a look.
Okay, you gotta put yours on the screen. Hey, we're not. Are we seeing it or
you're not? So I'm gonna remove add to stage.
There you go.
Let's try that again. A lot of technical problems, people. Thank you for sticking with us. All right, here we go.
Oh, hello. Wonderful day.
This is how I imagine Snow White as a race car driver. Has all kinds of powers.
Yeah,
birds are helping her.
I like how the female driver has the invisible force field around her car.
But this is what I mean about brand. Like, Snow White is a brand that is, oh my God, like what? Almost 90 years old in terms of Disney's version. They're giving out coupons on Hollywood Boulevard. This was at shops, gift shops all across Hollywood Boulevard, a $20 coupon for the El Cap Theater. $20 gets you a ticket, popcorn, and a soda. So I think this thing could have legs. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. So
mine is a wait and see. I think this kind of slow slide to the middle is going to happen, but wait and see. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. We will go to comments after this. I want to give Lori clean clips. He insists on 8-minute clips for us. I don't know why that is. I don't know why.
It's the algorithm.
Also, we'll take a break. A little reminder to please like, share, and subscribe. we would like to get up to. It's Alan's dream this year to get to how many subs?
169,000 subs.
Make Alan's dream come true. For those of you that are not subscribers, subscribe to Film Threat. Now, Alan, I have a treat. You know how I'm a big fan of the, how do you call this? The IP horror film.
No, the public domain slasher films.
Yes, public domain, intellectual property, horror film. And we are talking today, actually, to the director of Popeye the Slayer Man. I should mention we have 2 interviews today in addition to our reviews, but there is a trailer that's just dropped. I have not heard of this, and I'm usually on top of it, for a movie that will be opening in theaters in April. It is the death of Snow White. So while Rachel Zegler may represent the life of Snow White, this movie imagines what the death of Snow White would be like. It opens in theaters April 18th. This is the trailer from the Horror Collective. It's about 2 minutes. Are you ready, Alan?
I am ready. I'm with bated breath.
Yes. Let's together watch this trailer. I have not, by the way, I haven't seen it. I've seen the first 10 seconds. So this will be new to me. And a warning, this might be kind of gory. We'll see. Here we go, Alan. Let's go.
Mirror hanging on the wall. I am the fairest of them all.
Oh yes, you are fair, it is true. But we both know Snow White is more beautiful than you.
What are the huntsmen doing out here?
She will not survive the dark forest alone, and we cannot risk sending my men out.
Find her now!
We captured her, Michael, but we were ambushed.
You mean she got away?
You're gone mad.
They do appear to be quite mad.
What?
Take this.
Oh no. Okay.
Now take her heart from her chest.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Oh yes.
Wow. Okay. A splash of blood on the logo.
I was
That's
just
Snow
thinking
White
that this
.com.
movie better have nudity in it.
Well, clearly it's R-rated. Clearly it's R-rated. We saw blood, gore. Does it have nudity? We shall see. There is a website. I'm going to go to it now. deathofsnowwhite.com is the website. Let's check it out together. You can get, let me present this. You can get on the email list. You can get on the email list for it. It's basically the trailer, social media photos, and you can contact them.
All right, do we have a release date or
April 18th.
April 18th? Okay.
That was at the end of the trailer. See, I pay attention.
I don't.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna check that out. I plan to check that out. Let's go to comments here, and then we have a couple more news stories, and we'll get right to our reviews. Alan, if you would.
Okay, let's actually skip this one for our Snow White.
Oh, okay. Good. Yes, hold that.
Okay, the Introspect M. After watching it, I don't think it's going to hit Mufasa's numbers anymore. It's really bad, full of modernism, including Marvel quips and themes of oppression that break the fairy tale tone. You know, let's just say we trash on these films. They are bad, but they still make money. And so you can say all this, but people don't care. People will just see it. And like I said, every single frame in this movie has a cute furry animal in it, which is just the thing kids want.
Yeah, I do believe that the furry animals, X-Ray Girl on X actually said Chris was right that I would like the furry animals. I know we both said it, but it's kind of obvious. It's like in your face,
like frame one, a giant
like the
cute
very
animal.
first, the very first frame. So what can you say? All right, moving on with more comments here.
All right, Thomas Pickett for 2. Check out the game Disneyland Adventures. I actually have played Disneyland Adventures. It was one of the early Xbox Connect games, and so my daughter and I stood in the living room and was jumping and sliding and doing everything to make this game work.
That's the first time I've heard Connect in a long time.
Yeah. Bill S. Preston Esquire, Breast Dwarves Blood, I'm in. Yes.
Nice.
Christopher Moonlight Productions. I like this trailer. It's about 80% there.
Yeah, it's clearly exploitation. Although a lot of these fairy tales, if you did accurate tellings of these fairy tales, they're all very dark.
Yeah. They're all red band fables. The Nerd Far Away. Well, at least they hired little people. Yes.
Give them credit. Give them credit. All right. Lots of news stories, including this one about Gwyneth Paltrow is in the news. She had something to say about intimacy coordinators, oddly enough. And we are going to talk about it. Alan, if you would bring up the story.
Yes.
Intimacy coordinators, as you know, after the Me Too movement, this became a thing that was necessary on film sets. Could it be a grift? Who can say? For you to decide. It's yet another thing that that becomes part of a film budget that has nothing to do with making the movie, like COVID compliance officer or DEI. And here's another thing that studios now have to pay for. And Gweneth is starring in an upcoming movie with Timothée Chalamet. Lucky her. I see a May-December romance possibly in this, but what did she have to say? This is from Variety, Alan.
Yes.
And by the way, some more seasoned veteran actors are pushing back on intimacy coordinators. Most recently, Daniel Craig with the movie Queer. There were sex scenes in Queer, homosexual sex scenes with Daniel Craig, and he famously told the intimacy coordinator to F off, and the two actors worked it out for themselves. Alan, if you would say, what does Gwyneth Paltrow have to say?
All right. So Gwyneth Paltrow experienced working with an intimacy coordinator for the first time while filming Marty Supreme, though she found the role somewhat unnecessary given her decades in Hollywood. She was surprised by the concept, recalling a time when actors simply got in bed and performed without guidance. While she acknowledged the value of intimacy coordinators for younger actors, she and co-star Timothée Chalamet opted for a more natural approach, asking the coordinator to step back. Paltrow joked that the age difference between them, but praised Chalamet as a thoughtful and dedicated actor. Her return to serious acting comes with new industry changes, but remains confident in her ability to adapt.
Okay. What do you think?
What do I think? Yeah, I mean, every time this situation comes up, it's funny. It's the older actors, the veteran actors who, they Gweneth has certainly done her fair share of sex scenes and knows what she's doing. And young Timothy, she is the great person to guide him into this world of sex scenes. Like I said, there is a purpose for intimacy coordinators. I mentioned this a lot, but as an actor, I think I don't see what's wrong with knowing exactly what you're getting into before the scene begins and not having surprises show up. When you step on stage, you disrobe, you know exactly what's going to happen. But the problem is that I believe intimacy coordinators as an industry has decided that they are the authority. They are the say as to what happens on set, and almost to the point where they're rewriting the scenes. They might as well take a writer credit here. And I think that's the problem when you allow when the idea of an intimacy coordinator expands too far, and basically takes over, and I think that just ruins sex altogether.
Yeah, I just think that you have to be professional about it.
Mhm.
Having, look, I've been involved in production before. I've been a producer. I've made films. It's something you work out. You need to just be kind of sensitive. I think this all came about because clearly there are people in the industry that were not, but it's really something between the actors themselves and how, you know, I know actors, they tend to have their emotions right below the surface, ready to access at any time. And I really think it's between the actors. Let them work it out. And I think an intimacy coordinator should only be used when it is requested, because there have been instances in the past where actors have felt taken advantage of.
Mhm.
So I think it should be something that's optional and available, but not something that is a default have on set. Because again, I think there are a lot of grifts that just increase the budgets of movies. And it's probably something also that insurance companies, people insuring film
Mhm.
productions probably like, because it would prevent any lawsuits.
Yeah. There's definitely litigiousness when it comes to sex scenes, and if you have a bad encounter, then that's where the lawyers come in, and I think if anything, that's where the intimacy coordinator needs to be there, is to basically say these were the boundaries we set, and none of the boundaries were crossed, and so therefore you can't sue.
Let's go to comments.
All right, from JWT for JWT 6577, member for 18 months. Gwyneth Paltrow is in the news. I can't wait for this nugget of wisdom.
Ah,
Well, this is good news from her. Let's just put it that way. Suns and Shadows. What did Gwyneth do with her candle this time?
yeah.
Patrick Lemire. She's obviously a predator. Cougar on the hunt. Yeah, poor Timothy. Jimmy Francis. I experienced being on a set where directors and actors agree. Then the intimacy coordinator talks to the actor, and then suddenly big problems with the scene.
I think the problem is the intimacy coordinator could influence what happens on camera, and that should not happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, here's a person who is just hired as a consultant, let's put it that way, but
Yeah.
they're given a great deal of power. And well, hey, why not exert your power while you're on set? You're getting paid for it, and exerting power feels great. And I think that's what's going on here. Is this industry coordinator just felt like they need to interfere, and they did.
Again, if it starts to impact the film, if I were the director, I would kick them off the set.
Mhm.
Seriously,
Yeah.
kick them off the set. We've got some more stories here. Alan, if you would bring up our last story of the day, maybe something to make you smile. Sydney Sweeney is back in the news. You like the sound of that?
Yes, I do.
And she has been, not just as an actress, she has really been aggressive about producing her own films. And she is starring in and producing a movie. And I got to look, speaking of intimacy coordinators, Sydney Sweeney isn't shy. She has no qualms about showing off her body. And I admire her boldness and her bravery in not only the choices she makes as a producer, but as an actress. From Deadline, Alan, would you read this story?
Yes, Sydney Sweeney is expanding her role as both an actress and producer with I Pretend to Be a Missing Girl, a new thriller at Warner Brothers based on a Reddit short story by Joe Coate. The story follows a drifter who impersonates a missing girl to rob her family, only to realize she made a terrible mistake. Sydney's production company, 50/50 Films, is behind the project with Oscar-winning screenwriter Eric Roth, Forrest Gump and Dune, adapting the script. Sweeney has been actively producing projects she stars in, including Sony's rom-com hit Anyone But You, which grossed over $220 million globally, and the horror film Immaculate. She's also producing and starring in The Housemaid, a psychological thriller opening on Christmas Day, Scandalous, where she plays Kim Novak in a film directed by Coleman Domingo, and a biopic about female boxer Christy Martin.
Well, I'm excited about this. Here's the interesting thing. This is based on a Reddit thread. I pretended to be a missing girl. This is not the first time a movie has been inspired by something on social media. If you remember that movie years ago that was inspired by a series of tweets.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm thinking the things my dad said, shit my dad says or something.
Oh wait, was a
TV show. That became a TV show with William Shatner.
Yeah, but there was a movie called Zola. I don't know if you remember Zola.
Barely.
It's about a stripper that gets involved in prostitution, but the entire movie follows a Twitter thread. It's insane. So it's you can look it up, but look up Zola. I'll show you here. Also, by the way, Zola is hilarious. It's actually quite funny. So Zola takes a Twitter thread and turns it into a fever dream on film. So if you have never seen Zola, came out in 2021. Really entertaining movie. It's funny the way they use sound. They show the series of tweets, and it's this girl that goes down to Florida to make a lot of money at a strip club. She ends up getting involved in prostitution to make money on the side, and everything goes haywire and kind of crazy. Coleman Domingo is in this movie, and it's fantastic. So it's just funny now that we used to make movies based on novels, novels, stage plays, and now comic books. Now social media threads are the inspirations for films being made. It's kind of ridiculous. So put this back up here.
Can't wait for the Harry Sisson story to come out.
Yeah. So look, do I have a problem with this? No, it's actually interesting.
No, it's a great problem for an actress to take control of her career, to make movies she wants to make, and clearly she is making movies that she feels people will come out and see. I also believe in the interview she talked about how nude scenes for her have not ended. I believe she's looking for the right intimacy coordinator for that, and when she finds it, there you go, off to the races. But these 4 projects she mentions for her production company all sound interesting, and we'll see what happens in execution. But look, I mean, this is what we've been saying about anyone who wants to get into Hollywood. You've got to take control of your career. You've got to make things happen for yourself, and that's what Sydney Sweeney is doing.
Exactly. I tell this is my one piece of advice to anyone who wants to be a filmmaker, actor, producer. Be in control of your own destiny. Right? Be in control of your own destiny. That is, own your material, raise money yourself, make the movie. That's how it gets done. And kudos to Sydney for doing this. Let's go to comments here. We have a lot of films to review.
Yeah, Adrian says Sydney Sweeney could star in a movie about a production company, production of the phone book, and I would watch it. Wow, I screwed that one up. Patrick Lemire, I'm ready for a movie based on memes.
That I guarantee will happen in our lifetime.
Yeah,
maybe next year.
Yeah, there's shorts right now, but there'll be feature films in no time. Aaron Sharman, Cobra Kai was originally based on a Twitter thread about Daniel being the bad guy.
Oh, that's right. It was. So there you go. We've got a lot of films to review. We've got 2 interviews toward the end of the show with Cannibal Mukbang director Aimee Kuge and Popeye the Slayer Man director Robert Michael Ryan and star Sarah Nicklin will be here. 2 back-to-back interviews, but now we've got 8 movie reviews in an hour, less than an hour. So let's get to it, Alan. Let's start with the Alto Knights.
Alto Knights, yes.
The movie that I did not see.
Mhm.
Alan, you saw the Alto Knights. It stars Robert De Niro in dual roles. I don't know the story. I've seen the trailer.
Mhm.
Alan, tell me about the Alto Knights.
Okay, so this is a movie directed by Barry Levinson, written by Nicholas Pileggi, and it's Robert De Niro plays two roles: Frank Costello and Vito Genovese, two childhood friends who grew up, who became mobsters. At one point, Vito is sent away to prison for many years, and so power of the mob is transferred to Frank. And Frank, over the years, has kind of moved the mob along. He's made it slightly legit. He's become a very powerful man. Now Vito has returned, and he wants everything back. And he doesn't like the fact that things have changed. He doesn't like the speed in which he is getting his power back. So the movie opens with the assassination attempt of Frank Costello. And because Frank miraculously survives, he realizes he needs to get out of the mob business and hand over everything to Vito. This is a very interesting movie because this takes place, I think right before the 60s. And so this is when the drug trade starts coming in, starts affecting things. And this movie just becomes this character study of these two men. One who wants to get out of the mob and bring a little bit of legitimacy to it. And the other is this old school mobster in Vito Genovese. One of the interesting things is, as you note, Robert De Niro is playing the lead roles. The question is, did he need to? Narratively speaking, no.
Yeah, it looks, the trailer looks dumb. I'm sorry. It's De Niro in a just
Well, let me talk about that. In terms of narrative, you could have hired someone to play either Frank or Vito, and then De Niro take the other. I believe the reason De Niro took the two roles is because of the acting challenge. Frank is very much your typical De Niro role. He's the diplomat. He's the tough guy. Vito is the unhinged. This guy, he sees conspiracies in everything. In the beginning of the movie, he's in a restaurant. One of his rivals walks in, doesn't notice him, and then walks out. And he is incensed that this guy, his rival, walked into the restaurant just to annoy him, and then walk out. And this idea, this conspiracy starts to unravel in his head. He says, well, why did he come in? Obviously because of this, and this. And he builds this entire story that is just not true. And they wind up killing the guy later. And this happens throughout the film, that you see Vito as this loose cannon, a guy who, his driver, played by Cosmo Jarvis, says, oh yeah, look, we're in upstate New York. This is where the Mormons came from. And that comment about the Mormons just unravels. And this is that type of character Vito is. The thing about Vito in terms of De Niro's performance, plays that unhinged, and then they pitch up the voice a bit so it's higher, which is weird. So I'll say this: how does this go as a film? I actually like this movie.
What?
Yeah, it's an interesting mob movie. I think what I really like about it is it feels like an indie film. You've got Barry Levinson, Nicholas Pileggi, and it just feels like they didn't spend a lot of money on $50 million, which is pretty small compared to films today. And he does a really good job of telling a story, making it feel like a good mob story, but keeps it contained in kind of the indie realm versus these large epics that the movie studios produce constantly. Godfather is the greatest mob movie ever. But there is this epic feel to it. And now to bring it down to kind of this indie level, this indie feel to it, it has this charm that I really enjoyed. I do like the story that plays out. It's about, I believe it's a true story about how a gathering of all the mobs across America took place in New York. And so I would say, look, it's weird, but it's a small film. It was enjoyable. It had a lot of charm, and I would recommend it. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
based on the trailer, I really was underwhelmed, but maybe I'll check this out on streaming.
Yeah, I had zero expectations, especially because of the trailer. But they were, if De Niro wants to play 2 roles, I guess you let De Niro play 2 roles.
Let's go to comments and leave the poster up, Alan, because we're gonna move pretty quick between movie. We got like 7 or 8 movies.
I think Lori's taking care of the posters. So
okay, it's all good.
Okay, Jean Hu gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean Hu.
Did De Niro phone it in? The other thing about this is De Niro's getting older. I don't think he phoned it in, but you can definitely see his age come in. And the fact that Deborah Messing is his wife in it, she's tolerable. She does a good job, but there's a lot of de-aging going on here. They aged him down and aged her up.
Like The Irishman?
Yeah. There's a bit of that going on. Davina Duckworth, I'm more interested in De Niro's shoe lifts than this film.
That's good.
Ron Enriquez, just when I thought De Niro was done, he surprised me with this film. Great performances. Yeah, Ron liked it. You are muted, I believe.
More people are liking it. There you go. That's good. Let's move on to another review. A movie that I don't think you saw.
I saw it last night.
You did see Locked.
Did see it.
Okay. Well, I like this director, David Yarovesky, who did Brightburn. Locked, of course, stars. And by the way, Sam Raimi was one of the producers on this film. It's a tight thriller. Basically, the Bill Skarsgård, who plays Eddie Barish, is the star. Anthony Hopkins plays, well, for most of the movie, a disembodied voice of a character named William. Bill Skarsgård's Eddie has a daughter. He's estranged from his wife. He is a small-time thief who happens upon a very expensive-looking car that he breaks into and then is trapped in for most of the movie. The whole rest of the movie.
80% of the movie.
80% of the movie. Now, it's very claustrophobic, and you would think this makes the movie, it sort of brings it down small. It is an amazing thriller that, without giving things away, escalates the stakes in every way it goes. And Anthony Hopkins, as the character of William, has had enough. There was a tragedy involving his daughter. He's tired of his expensive car being broken into, and he sets a trap in which Eddie is now in the car being electrocuted, tortured with polka music. By the way, my grandfather used to play the polka, so no hate on polka music. My grandfather, he had a polka. He played the polka. He had the whole thing.
And your dad was a barbershop quartet singer.
My dad was in a barbershop
quartet. That's your musical heritage.
I come from a musical family in which I have no musical talent whatsoever. Anyways, Eddie is, I really like Bill Skarsgård. He's very different in each of his roles. The Crow was not great. He was not great in The Crow, but he was really good in Barbarian, recent horror film.
Yeah, Bill Kills World, which was also produced by Sam Raimi.
Yeah, now this, you would think, it's going to be claustrophobic. It's going to drag. The stakes get raised as it goes. His young daughter, her life is at stake. William doesn't care. It becomes actually, it becomes this whole philosophical discussion about where morality comes from, right and wrong, stealing. Is there any instance in which stealing is right? So they end up having these deep discussions as William continues to torture Eddie in the car. And from the way it's filmed, so Eddie's in the car, but the camera moves in a 360 degree. That I'm sure there was digital enhancement, whatever. I don't know how they did it. It's
I can tell you how. I can tell you. It was done in the volume. It was done in the volume.
I'm sure, but this does not look like a volume movie. It does not look like a volume movie and then there's also some high-speed chase and shenanigans with the car that continue to up the stakes. Again, no spoilers on this, but this really surprised me. It's a tight 95 minutes thriller, and it delivers in the end. I really enjoyed it and did not expect to, but the fact that David did Brightburn, which I really loved, when Film Threat was an audio only podcast, I did interview David for that movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and would recommend it. Probably a solid 7.5 even for this. Alan, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's an interesting thriller because it does take place in that confined space. I think I'm saying it was shot in the volume because I think that's the only way you can get those camera angles. And when we saw the movie Daddy-O, which also takes place in a car, they talked about, the car was constructed in a way that you could get a camera in and out and get the backgrounds going. And so that's why I'm saying that. And these are things I find interesting because I think when I watch movies, I think a lot about how is it made? How did they pull off this shot? And that's one thing that really surprised me about this movie. The other thing is it's a small movie. And I say that because it does take place in the car for 80% of the time. He's stuck there. And so, the world is very small in this film, which I liked. And then lastly, the last point I wanted to make was, it does one of these tropes that I hate. Right off the front, Eddie comes out. He's this tough guy. He's in trouble. He makes he causes trouble with the guy who's fixing his car, and then his phone rings, and there's a cute picture of his daughter, and now it's like, oh my god. Okay, so instantly we have the reason to feel compassion for Eddie. It works in the film, but I'm saying that this is becoming an annoying trope because every time you have the protagonist phone ring and there's a cute child on it, now children are going to be in danger.
Yeah.
This whole thing to play out. But overall, I did enjoy the film. It's a tight, small thriller, like you say, because thrillers in my mind tend to be in large worlds. In this case, it's a very compacted world, and they use that. Eddie uses the car, has to understand the car to figure out a way to get out of it, and that's the kind of thrills that you have in this movie.
Well, I recommend it. Maybe your number rating is not as high as mine, but I recommend it. It was a surprise.
Yep.
What do you think,
Yeah,
Alan?
I'll give it a solid 7. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
It delivers on what it promises, definitely.
And actually is better than the trailer.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go to comments. And we're having, Alan, I need to let you know, we're having problems with the posters. Lori is going to send you the posters, and you are going to set that up.
Send me a link in the chat. That'd be easier.
Yeah, that'd be easier, Lori, if you would do that right now. Lori's internet is worse. Apparently, Lori's internet is worse than your internet.
Yeah, I was researching. There's not a lot I can do at the moment.
Yes, but then my camera didn't work this morning. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Shuxy, member for 31 months. Hey, Chris, I'm so glad I'm able to catch this episode live today. Did you get the self-stamped, self-addressed envelope I sent you recently?
Yes, I did. I even got your card, your very lovely card. And I will get to those at some point. So I received it. And there you are. I've been very busy of late.
Yeah. And we'll be in Vegas next week. So Bill Espresson, Esquire. Bill Skarsgård is very talented, but I think he needs to be choosier on roles.
You may be referencing The Crow.
Yeah. Rami God. This is a remake of an Argentinian film, 4x4, which none of us saw.
There you go.
Ron Enriquez, is there a surprise twist that Hopkins is actually Hannibal Lecter and Skarsgård his latest victim? LOL.
You could argue this is a soft prequel or side quest to the Hannibal Lecter story. You could argue that. Maybe even an origin of Hannibal Lecter. So if you look at it from those eyes, that adds even more layers. That's great. Will we suss out the poster problem?
Mhm.
I am furiously refreshing Rotten Tomatoes to get the audience score.
To get the live tomato.
Yeah, Alan, if you would bring up the Snow White score.
Oh no, hold on, I'm getting posters.
Snow White.
Okay, hold on. Let me start downloading these posters.
You guys gotta fix your internet. People in the chat, what do you suggest Alan should do so he doesn't drop out every 30 seconds? And is there good? Yeah, I literally pay for the top internet in my area, and it's still not great.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, the one thing I do know is that if I complain, they'll,
Yeah, but until I can figure out what is wrong, because for all intent and purpose,
why is this the
this
only?
is the only thing. This is the only thing.
Can you
wrong.
just put the Snow White?
You wanted me to get the Snow White.
I'm asking Roy, please.
You wanted me to get the Snow White Rotten Tomatoes, so I had to stop everything I was doing.
I'm gonna go get coffee. You guys figure it out.
There you go. That's what you
I
want.
don't need that.
You just asked me for it.
Guys, Alan, you are my density. You're not gonna say anything?
Yeah, I wish I was the one dying.
Do we have other posters?
Yes.
Great.
Look, I'm getting posters, and then all of a sudden you say, "Get me the Snow White Rotten Tomatoes," and so I stopped.
No, that was what I didn't say that. I said I am refreshing Rotten Tomatoes.
No, and then you said you pull it up. You asked me to
No, I said I did not say that. I said I'm refreshing Rotten Tomatoes so that I can see what the audience score is. I'm getting coffee, so I'll be right back. But you suss out the poster problem. Folks, pay attention to this special message. I can't, because these aren't labeled, I can't see what these are. Alan, you gotta okay, that's not that.
Yeah, if I had time.
You label.
I was busting my ass all morning because I had
Here's what will help me. Label the names. Just name it real quick. Then I'll just see it.
You know how hard it is to get picture
every time. Yeah, it's called show prep. How do you think I line up the interviews and do all this other stuff?
Yeah. And I do nothing. I have a website to run.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying you do nothing. I'm saying help us. I'm trying to help us.
All right. Let's see. Let's get to your comments. Whoops, here we go. Sons and Shadows, best stream every week. Don't you love it? Carlos Alfredo Lopez, LOL. Donald J. Skywalker, he definitely told Alan to get the Snow White poster. Let's see. Nerd Far Away, bring me another cup too, Chris. Let's see. Sorry, where are we going? Okay, here we go. Davina Duckworth, 100% professionalism every time. Razorburn says, I think Alan is going to end up an alcoholic. We're heading in that direction. Let's see. Lord Shax. Alan reminded me to watch an X post. Now Alan and Chris are putting on a better show than Hollywood does. Thank you for that. Yeah, let's see. Anonymous. It's not a show without technical issues or an argument. Say we aim to deliver. Rudy for 2. Rub the modem with cheetah blood to make it faster.
Why are we so small on screen?
Because I am trying to not have.
There you go. All right,
reading
come on.
comments.
We've
I'm
got
pulling up
a lot of
posters.
films to review.
Yeah.
A lot of films to review. Would you like me to review Ash very quickly?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we lost that one Snow White comment. Super chat.
Okay. Great. Let's talk about Ash. Ash is a science fiction film that is a taut thriller on a planet where a young woman awakes from her slumber and finds herself in an awful situation. Eliza Gonzalez plays Rhea, wakes up on a spaceship where something horrific happened, but she doesn't know what. The crew members are all dead, her friends. The planet is covered in volcanic ash. What is happening? She does not know. Strange things are afoot. She begins to unravel this mystery of what happened to her as her memory slowly starts to return. She has memories of all of the other characters on the starship, played by Tessa Thompson, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Beulah Cole, Kate Elliott, round out the cast. But she doesn't know who's responsible for killing the crew members. Is it some strange alien creature? Is it one of the other crew members that killed everyone? She's trying to unravel this mystery while also Brian, played by Aaron Paul, says, hey, we got to go. We don't have time to solve this mystery. We have to get out of here. Focus on everything we need to do to get the hell off this planet where horrible things have happened. This movie is directed by Flying Lotus. Yes, that's his name. It screened at the South by Southwest Film Festival, and it is a cheesy looking, low budget sci-fi with digital effects that are very kind of vary from passable to just plain bad. Where it's Isa Gonzalez plays Rhea. I just don't believe her. She's way too attractive to be an astronaut sent onto space. It seems to be in her performance. She tried to channel Sigourney Weaver and failed miserably. And the movie, just from the production design to the makeup effects to these digital effects, looked like it was aspiring to be much bigger than the budget would allow. And even at a tight running time of 95 minutes, this thriller sci-fi fails. It fails to take flight, even though it has all the elements, mystery, whatnot, the aliens, some aliens that are possessing members of the crew, a mystery that unfolds as it goes. We don't know even if what she's seeing is reality. In the end, this thing fails miserably. I'd say a 4 or 5 out of 10. One thing this reminds me of is about 10 other video games with the same plot, where an astronaut, someone in space, wakes up to some horror show and has to figure out what's going on. That's the plot of about 10 different video games, probably a lot more. So it was very much felt like this was a video game where I was not entirely invested, because you get to know the characters in flashbacks or memories from Rhea. So I cannot recommend this. It's just very weak, and by the end, just overstayed its welcome. So this movie is a pass for me. Alan, you did not see it?
I did not see it, but I have a question. Is this a science fiction because it takes place in space, or does it have something to say about the current condition of humanity?
It really has nothing to say about the current condition of humanity. It just is this is literally the full motion video cutscenes to a video game.
Yeah.
And everything is task related. when it comes to the plot.
Mhm.
It's like, I've got to get this. I've got to get the computer up. I've got to find this thing. It's like somebody played a video game and said, ooh, that would make a good movie. But it's very generic in all aspects. And the production design is so cheap. I'm talking about the sets in the ship look really cheap. It doesn't look otherworldly. It's not convincing even as a vessel, space vessel on a planet. So hard pass for me on Ash.
Yeah. One thing I learned from the recent rescue of the astronauts, that when you're in space, your hair is supposed to go in so many different directions.
Well, there's gravity in this, so they didn't worry about that. And
but still, that would have been cooler to have just their hair kind of sticking out like that.
Yeah. So it's a pass, folks.
Okay.
It's a pass. Let's go to comments.
All right. From Rumble, from M. Morning, y'all.
No,
okay.
that's something else.
That's the missing super chat. RJ McReady, they can't keep getting away from this. Exactly.
With this is what's that in reference to? What are the
I tell you, well, it's if I were to guess, it is just this story of space that's science fiction. And
I don't know if that's what that person was saying.
Okay. I could be wrong. Mike MC Wong, Ash was pretty good, predictable as hell. And it took a bit a bit for 3 action.
All right, you can't read. Let's go to the next comment here. Come on.
I think Isa Gonzalez is the most beautiful actress in Hollywood, but boy, is she a lot of garbage.
Well, I don't know who she is.
Oh, she's in a lot of garbage.
She was fine. She's weightless as an actress.
Darth Yeager, hot shaming. Barbie was an astronaut, so why not this girl? Chris.
Yes, I'm hot shaming. All right, folks. It's time to talk Snow White. And by the way, we're talking spoilers. We're going to get into it, including the ridiculous ending. I don't think
the most toxic moment in the
third. I don't think we need to get into the story. You know what it is. Poison Apple, Evil Queen, Rachel Zegler as Snow White. Here we go. But let's get into spoiler aspects of the things that did not work. In particular, the dwarves. There is a beloved dwarf that for all the history of Disney has never spoken one word until this movie. I'm talking about Dopey. Dopey speaks in the movie, and in the theater where I saw it, which was packed, there were audible gasps in the audience when Dopey spoke. And do you know who voices Dopey?
Who?
Conan O'Brien.
No.
Yes.
No.
Pretty sure it was Conan O'Brien.
Let me look it up. Okay, let me speak to the audience crowd. This is the point in which my daughter, and I will quote her, she said, she screamed audibly loud in the theater, no. And then when Dopey kept speaking, she said, please make this stop.
Yeah. No, it was bad. The ending we're going to get to, we'll spoil the ending. I don't know that anyone cares. So, but yeah, Dopey.
Do you remember what Dopey said?
The original Dopey was played by Eddie Collins.
Okay.
I guess. So yeah, the voice actors for the, oh my God, it's all garbage here. Just get into the spoilers, Alan. We'll find out. Someone else will research who played Dopey.
So Dopey was played by Andrew Barth Feldman, who was in the No Hard Feelings. He was the kid in No Hard Feelings.
That was Conan. Okay.
No, it's not Conan. Yeah, what are we talking about? Sorry. You asked me something.
This is our spoiler review of Disney. Should we start the show over again?
You just asked me something. I'm trying to respond to it, but I forgot what you just asked me a moment ago.
Let's talk about the ending of Snow White.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got a bunch of things going on here. Why don't you speak a little bit, and then I can catch on to where we're
can
at.
you know, we're on the internet doing a show. Is it possible you could focus and do that? That's when my
Yeah, 'cause you asked me to
100%
do
focus.
things. 'Cause you asked me to do
100
things while I'm doing the show, and so no, I cannot focus on the discussion because I'm doing other things because you asked for it.
Or Lori could look it up. It doesn't matter. Let's talk. Let's start this over.
Yes, 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 yes.
Alan, it's time for our spoiler review of Disney's Snow White. I think we all know the story. We don't need to go over that again. Evil queen, virtuous Snow White. She's fair, the fairest of them all. There's a poison apple and a prancing prince, except he's not prancing. He's a prancing bandit. So, but we need to talk about Dopey. Who
Yes,
Dopey,
played by Conan O'Brien.
So like I'm trying to do this so that Lori can get a clean clip of our spoiler review.
Yes, I know. And I find this very funny.
I don't think it's funny. Okay. We started
Okay.
the show with some technical issues. We fixed the issues. Can we focus and actually do this review now?
Yeah.
And I want to thank the 2,249 people watching live who haven't left yet. So let's start this over again. I feel like when we do the show, this is like the first time you're doing a show, and I'm perfectly capable of looking something up, and I can do two things at once.
Yeah, you are great.
So go please, Alan, if you would take the lead and tell me let's talk about Snow White.
All right. Well, we don't need to talk about the story at all. We talked about it before, but I think you want to talk about the ending and how Snow White was finally able to defeat the evil queen. And the way Snow White was able to do that was similar to the way Sam Wilson was able to defeat the Red Hulk. She defeated the queen with empathy. At the very end, all the soldiers have weapons pointed at her. There's spears and knives. And then Snow White looks over and says, "Chad, you used to be a farmer. I remember you grew so much food for us. You were such a vital part of this community." And you, Tyrone, you were you ran the bakery, and your wife helped you with it. And Blaine, I lost my virginity to you. And
No, she didn't say that.
But it's kind of the new way of how you tell stories, how you tell fairy tales, because it's no longer about rugged men fighting evil men. It's about empathy and sympathy, and that's how Snow White, the fairest of them all, is able to finally defeat the queen and send her to hell.
She literally talks to her minion soldiers and reminds them of their previous life before the evil queen, and they choose to not be evil minion soldiers. That's awful. The prancing prince is not a prince. He's a bandit, and yes, he does kiss Snow White, which brings her back to life. I mean, I always preferred when they put her in the coffin. You're like, that's
The
very
glass coffin, yeah.
a glass coffin. Her beauty, they didn't not want to, cover her beauty. She's in a glass coffin, and the prince brings her to life. In this, it's a bandit of ambiguous sexual nature because he clearly was into musical theater.
No, the thing about that is you got the sense that the kiss was an unnecessary evil in the minds of the writers and the storytellers and the filmmakers.
Yes.
that they had to have it in there, and they found the worst way to go about doing it, because let me set the picture here. So
Please.
Snow White lays dead on the ground. The handsome bandit comes along, sees her, and kisses her, and she awakens. And what did she say? The queen killed my father.
Yes.
So there's there's a princess problem song. This is the what I'm getting to here is this relationship between the bandit and Snow White. The moment she says the queen killed my father, she just friend zoned poor Jonathan, and the two of them will never get married and live happily ever after.
Yeah, it's almost like the writers and Disney resisted the classic elements of the story, and they sort of begrudgingly checked the list off. Well, we got dwarves, we've got the bandits, and we've got the kiss, we've got the evil queen, we've got the mirror. Everything is checked off in what should be in a Snow White movie, but nothing feels organic, and it's very weightless. So it just doesn't, it really leaves you kind of cold, and it's so this is corporate filmmaking is what this is. It's corporate filmmaking in the end.
Yeah, but to me it's also I mean, I have to believe that there's a conspiracy in Hollywood that says children don't deserve romance.
Yes.
And they intentionally keep it out. And it's not like children are saying, ugh, kissing, bleh. Because deep down, kids love that. You know, as much as they gag at their parents doing it, they love that. This is Hollywood saying kids don't deserve romance, and we're not going to give it to them. And when we do, we're going to give it in the most sterile way possible.
Yeah, what do young girls and even boys, there's nothing for boys in this movie. I mean, they say that, like, well, these movies, they're made for young girls, princesses, whatnot. I'm male. I like these Disney movies. There was always some element of it that a boy could find to like. A man could like. The male, we like different things, right? As men and women. So,
no, but I disagree. I think there is something for boys. It's this message
in
that
this version,
in this version for boys, the message is one day you will find a woman who will boss you around for the rest of your life.
Oh, yes, that's it. That's exactly it. Oh my God, Alan, I forgive you for everything. Oh my God. Oh,
yeah.
You know what I found?
Kids.
You know what I found? I found a fact on the internet that was wrong. Do you believe that, Alan?
Yeah, you did. Conan O'Brien. How the hell did you think that was Conan O'Brien?
Because I saw it online.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just
let's talk about the dwarf.
Let's talk about it.
That dopey thing is dope. Dopey.
It's played by Andrew Barth Feldman, who is the kid in No Hard Feelings, that needed to lose his virginity and bad. That was Dopey, and he speaks. And when he spoke, you mentioned that the audience was my daughter.
To be clear, packed with fans, critics, fans, and they gasped. I heard someone say no. I think it might have been your daughter. Yeah. And people were, you could tell this was a bad choice, having Dopey speak, who has never spoken. He's like the Harpo Marx of the dwarves, right?
Yeah.
No one knows Harpo Marx. Do you? You had a horn? Had a little horn? Anyways, that's how he spoke. But Dopey was always like the soul,
the mute one.
Dwarves,
Yeah.
the mute one.
Yeah. What made him special was the fact that he didn't talk. And that he was endurable and lovable. In here, he's a bullied dwarf. For hundreds of years, the other dwarves had been bullying him, making him so that he didn't want to talk anymore.
Right.
So when Dopey finally speaks, this is what my daughter said audibly, which I'm pretty sure the entire theater heard. But she said the first time it was no, The second time he spoke, it was, please make this stop. And then the third time she just said, this is wrong. And she just walked in to remind me of that. So, you know, the whole dopey thing, making him feel this sympathetic character. I mean, again, this is a full-on remake of Snow White. And again, it all serves to show that Walt Disney was wrong. And that we need to make this Walt Disney story better and for modern times. And so instead of creating a lovable character, Dopey, who is mute, no, he's a bullied child who doesn't want to speak anymore because of the bad people around him.
What makes this is the bottom line. We'll go to your comments.
Mm-hmm.
The reason this whole thing doesn't work is this isn't about telling an organic classic story that will endure for generations, which, I mean, look, I like movies that kind of feel dated in the sense that they have a life. They're rooted in core values. And there might be aspects that are dated, haircuts, wardrobe, whatever, things about classic films. The thing that makes this so bad, it's not about telling a good story. It's about correcting current day attitudes about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it in such a way as to make the classic film wrong for having done it in the first place. It's offensive to fans of Walt Disney. It's offensive to the legacy of not just the company, but the man. And I'm just aghast that, and there have been, everyone points out the Cinderella remake by Kenneth
Branagh.
Yeah. You just, all you got to do is honor it. You can update a few things here, but you don't make the updates make it wrong. And that's what this movie does by replacing the dwarves with magical short creatures. Is just, it's the height of listening to the very vocal audience that cares about this stuff, and those people do not represent the majority. Final thoughts, Alan. We'll go to comments.
Let me give you my favorite moment of the movie. So Jonathan,
there is one.
Okay. So Jonathan and the huntsman, they are chained in the dungeon. So they're chained to the dungeon wall, and Jonathan is yanking on that chain. I got to get out of here and save Snow White. And the huntsman sits there going, "There's no point. You know, the queen has won." And then Jonathan inspires the huntsman and says, "No, we can aspire for a better life, a more truthful life. So help me get out of these chains." And so what do they do? How do they get out of it? Well, apparently they're both chained to the same loop. And so if they both pull on it together, it comes out. So
if we work together,
it was the power of two.
No,
out of the dungeon.
Oh my God.
This is indicative of the storytelling throughout the entire thing. Oh, tie Jonathan up to the gates as an example. Oh, they tie him to the gates, and then Snow White comes up and unties him so that he can go away. I mean, that's this movie. This is why the worst crime of this movie is the filmmakers think we're morons. They think adults are morons, and worse, they think children are morons. So because they can't logically work their way out of this. It's time to the gate, and then she unties him. That's how it worked. You know, the power of one and the power of two. There you go. We are morons in their eyes. Disney. Today, Disney is a far cry from when Walt was running the company and telling stories the right way.
Let's go to your comments, starting from the top.
All right. Alejandro Montoya Marin for 5. Instead of seeing the third or fourth rendition of Star Wars, go see
Snow White.
Snow White. Okay, sorry. Let's just say it's always been Star Wars. Go see these first timers in theaters: Mickey 17, Noah Kane, and Black Bag.
Yeah, see original movies.
And
thank you.
Locked. Yeah, add Locke to that as well. Hannibal Grimm for 5. Chris, that wasn't Dopey. That was Alfred E. Newman.
Yeah, it totally looks like Alfred E. Newman. Ridiculous.
Thomas Pickett for 2. Look at what Rachel Ziegler is doing to all of us.
Correct.
Daniel for 5. The real fairy tale question on every kid's lips. Did Snow White pass the Bechdel test? There was too much of the Bechdel test going on in this movie.
Yeah, I think it did.
No, it did. It had 2 women talking.
It did.
Suns and Shadows for 5. Alan won the week. Thank you.
I love Alan. I just don't like technical issues, and because it's
because we are the most overproduced show on the internet.
It's an unforced error. No, this should be easy.
And our Kitty 83. Hey, member for 17 months. Snow White: A Tale of Terror is my favorite version.
Hey, Anarchy 83. Good to see you. Thank you.
Scott McKenzie, Hemichel.
Whoa.
For a member for 29 months.
Wow.
Chris, how can Disney get back to its roots? Fire everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to doge Disney. Only way.
Yeah.
Get rid of the activists.
Yeah. Get rid of DEI and most of the white people and replace them all.
Get rid of the white people. That's how you do it.
Vicky for 5 pounds. My 9-year-old saw the poster and said, "Don't make me see this crap. How can I give
for real?
Yeah, how can I give her into trouble, get her into trouble for bad language when she's right?"
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. So, yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah.
Right. So we gotta have more here.
Yes, we do. We do have more.
All right.
Hang on. I'm coming in. Wait.
Yeah, here we go.
This just came in. Sorry about that.
No, we just read that.
We got that. Okay.
The one you did. Okay, the one you just had is the super chat we missed earlier today.
Oh, I just unstarted.
Okay, here. No, I got it here. So this is from this morning from M. Morning, y'all. Sorry you guys had to sit through Snow Woke. Hopefully Disney will realize how much this type of narrative is hurting its brand. Yep.
Yeah. We have our interview guest here. We will get to her shortly. We're going to get through these chat comments really quick.
RJ McReady, Peter Dinklage ruined jobs for an entire minority group. What a raging narcissist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill S. Preston Esquire.
We got that. Okay.
Okay. Dopey should have been voiced by Morgan Freeman.
That would have been funny.
Zet Zatar, I'm here for the technical difficulties.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Let's see. Nerd Far Away. So in this version, Snow White kills her with kindness. In the original tale, the evil queen is killed with red hot shoes she made to dance in. How is that for dark?
There you go. Couple
MK
more.
Solid. They put 7 little people out of work and ruined their chances of doing conventions for years. The Munchkins from Oz made appearances for decades. Terrible missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And Ola Liukui. So he's not a prince. Is he charming? Is he a charming rogue?
Some would argue.
Yes. And from RJ, we got that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you very much. All right. We've got more films to review, including Magazine Dreams, The Assessment. Bob Trevino likes it. Did you see that, Alan?
Nope.
Okay. We'll do that next week. And Popeye the Slayer Man. But right now, we have the director of one of my favorite horror films this year. I cannot wait to talk to the director of Cannibal Mukbang, Aimee Kuge. Is it Kuge or she's going to tell me? Now I'm embarrassed. That I may have mispronounced her name, but Aimee is here to talk to us today about her movie. I can't wait to talk to her about it.
Hey
Aimee,
there.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I loved your film. Oh my God. It is so like honors and respects. And there's so much love for classic horror. It's so got so many layers to it. It's also, for the first part of the movie, it's a really charming love story. I mean,
Well,
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. That means so much to me. Yeah, I wanted it to be like half a romantic comedy and then half a horror movie. And you almost pronounced my name right.
Oh.
It's Kuge, like
Kuge.
an angry Japanese man, like Kuge. So
Kuge. Okay.
you got it close though.
I will get it
Okay.
right from this day forward.
No problem.
This is my colleague Alan Ing. So he has not seen the film. I have. I loved it. Like it's you're right. It actually is very sweet. This man doesn't want to screw it up with this girl. He's so intrigued and enticed by her, and then things go awry. And I am familiar with mukbang. Obviously the film wasn't, but what inspired this telling of this story? Obviously, mukbang videos are a part of it, and I have watched them myself. I find them to be crazy.
Yeah, so I actually sort of fell down a mukbang rabbit hole in college. I've watched more than I would like to admit.
Yeah.
And I actually did work for a mukbanger, like kind of researching for this. Before I wrote the script, I worked for her for a few months and she was lovely, but I just learned a little bit more about like the ins and outs of what that job is like. And yeah, there actually is a very specific moment in my life that inspired the movie. I was at this party and a friend of a friend of a friend, someone I don't even remember her name, was talking about one of her friends going on a date with this guy. And it was someone she met on like Tinder or something. So she goes on a date with this guy, has a lovely night. He like cooks her a whole meal and she falls for him really hard and is like, well, maybe I'll stay over. Like maybe this will turn into something. And he's like, no, we'll end the night here. So she leaves. And the next day she starts to feel really sick and she gets even more and more and more sick, goes to the hospital and they do some tests on what was in her stomach. And they're like, you have human DNA in your body. So she freaks out, tries to reach out to this guy and he's gone. Like he's not on the apps at all. She doesn't have his number or anything. So for me, I was just like, how has this story not been told? Like, this is so interesting. And kind of connected the dots with my love of mukbanging and my love of horror and my love of romance, and Cannibal Mukbang came.
I mean, the tone, which is, to me, that is the director's job, policing tone. The tone of this is so good in a classic horror sense. And also the fact that there's a little conflicting morality because you like these characters and you want to see love bloom, but it goes to a bad place. I don't want to give away too much, but I want to play the trailer because I want people to get a taste of the movie. I have it queued up here. Let's watch it together, if you would not mind. Yeah, like, well, you want to watch your own trailer to your movie?
Be proud of your movie. Watch the trailer.
Yeah. I can't wait to share it with everyone here. Let's take a look.
These are my favorite flavor.
It's mine too.
Why?
What do you do?
I eat stuff online.
You mukbang?
Oh my god!
I met this girl last night. She's amazing.
What's so special about this one, huh?
She's kind of off in a captivating, quirky way.
Did you know that when I'm near you, my entire body gets tingly?
How did you cook this? This is like beyond good.
Secret family recipe. I told you I'd have to kill you. You like it rough? Just anyone. I only kill the ones that get away with doing horrible things to innocent people.
How many people have you done this to?
It's a circle of life. People live and people die. God, I just feel so alive. This is so much more fun with you. Hey, all you bangers. Welcome back to my channel. You got something special. Food is fuel. I don't know about you. I'm starving.
I just fell in love with this movie. I think it's amazing. How did you pull it all together between the budget and the casting? I have to say, the chemistry of your two leads are fantastic. I mean, they were really great. The woman who plays Ash, very brave, and there is nudity in the film. It's kind of a horror trope. So tell me how you just pulled it together. And like I said, casting spot on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, casting was very, very important to me. It took a long time for me to find the right people, and April Consolo and Nate Wise are just incredible. Funnily enough, when I cast Nate, he was the first audition that I saw, and I'm like, oh, this is the guy. This is the guy. But I had to go through everybody else and see what they were like together. So the movie is about them. The most important part of Cannibal Mukbang is that you believe that these two are falling in love with each other in real time. And so when I cast them, I made sure that I had them meet first in front of me so I could sort of feel like what that energy was like. And they just started joking around with each other and like treating each other so familiarly almost immediately. Like we met at this little bar in Brooklyn called Heart Bar, and they're already like giving each other shit, like being like, oh, you're gonna order that? Interesting. Like, kind of flirting with each other in front of me. And I don't know, I just felt that energy between them, and I really lucked out. A lot of that is just that they're both amazing actors too, and they can convey these emotions on screen so well. But I don't think it would have worked if it wasn't them. And in hindsight, it's easy to say that, but like I really think if I would have cast them differently, it would not have been the same movie. It would not have been as successful. And in terms of just putting it all together, you really just got to do it. I mean, it's hard to say that because it seems so much like that doesn't seem like an easy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
But going to film school and going to art school, we were taught to just make things and be okay with failure. Because if you don't do it, then the biggest failure of all is just never doing it and regretting it for your whole life. So with Mukbang, I told myself that if the script got into one festival and did well, that I would try to make the movie. So I entered the script into a ton of festivals in 2021, and it got into a lot of them and did really well. It won a few of them, and from there, I just told myself, like, I have to do this no matter what. So, yeah, I mean, I really wish that I had a better answer for it, but you just have to do it, even if it's low budget, even if it's with whatever you can pull together with your friends, with people that are willing to let you use their apartments for free, with actors that are willing to be on camera for free. Not all of them, but some of them, you know.
Exactly.
It's not a big production, so.
So did you shoot in New York?
Yeah, we shot in Brooklyn, and we also shot in Bergen County in New Jersey. So
Yeah.
we shot in Westwood.
What are the challenges of making a low budget indie in New York City?
Ooh, there's so many.
Yeah.
So I actually tried to see if I could get a tax credit, and they were like, oh, so, you know, anything under like 1.5 million, we really don't do. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, no.
Well,
Wow.
I guess I'm going to fly under the radar for this. Like, just do this renegade, like Larry Fessenden style, like Habit 1996, just running around and doing stuff. I did go more by the books in New Jersey. I went through the film commission there, which they were fantastic to work with. Highly recommend them. And they pointed me to cities that had wanted or expressed interest in filming more, and Westwood was one of them. So I met with the like the Bureau of Westwood, and they were interested in filming. Funnily enough, I was worried that they wouldn't want to do it because of the title, but I told them, like, okay, it's Cannibal Mukbang, but it really is like a love triangle or like a love story. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a love story. I'm like, it is a love story. I'm not telling you a lie, but I'm not telling you the entire truth. So yeah.
But the love story is such a great part of it. I got to ask, and we've got over 2,000 people watching live, a ton of questions from our chat we'll get to. Did you have an intimacy coordinator or think about that? How did you deal with your actors with the nude scenes?
Yeah, so I did have an intimacy coordinator. Her name is Kennedy Murray. She was fantastic. I knew from the start that I wanted to work with one. I've worked on many productions before that didn't have them, and they were fine. Their communication was there. But for me, I just felt like this was my first thing. Being a woman and knowing kind of what we go through, I wanted to make sure that April was very comfortable. And so, yeah, I hired her. She was on for every single intimacy scene, and she was fantastic. We had a few rehearsals before, which feels, well, it was a little awkward. I'm not going to lie. Like meeting with the actors and the intimacy coordinator and being like, okay, so we're picturing these positions at these moments and maybe kiss like this. I remember showing them a scene from the movie Spun. It was a slow motion makeout scene in Spun between Brittany Murphy and what is his name? I'm forgetting his name. I showed them that scene, and then I showed them a scene in Twilight when Edward and Bella kiss for the first time. And I'm like, I want this chemistry, like this sweetness and this intimacy. And having the intimacy coordinator there to just be that buffer and say, okay, if you guys don't feel comfortable with this with Aimee, you can come to me first, and then I'll be the bad guy. Not putting that pressure on them was like the game changer for me. Like, I feel like the lovemaking scene in Mukbang is so effective because I was able to establish that trust with my actors because I had Kennedy there to back me up and to back them up. So just having that extra person was like super helpful, especially when I only had one day to do that scene. I only had 6 hours. So if it didn't work out, then I'd be screwed. Like I'd have to, do it all over again and figure that out.
And while the gore in the film is, there's a lot of it, it does not disappoint. It's the sweetness in that relationship that is the glue that makes the film so compelling and why I enjoyed it so much. We've got so many questions for you and comments, so let me get to them quickly here. Cat G3000. Okay, now I've got a new movie to see. Joe Chapman, delighted to see a young lady director doing the good work. And Razorburn, Aimee, what was your first horror movie, and was it the one that inspired you to go toward making horror? Same with comedy.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that question. Yeah, the first horror movie that I remember watching was The Cell from 2000. My mom loves horror movies. I'm very fortunate. We've been watching them together since I was like literally 5. It's funny, she wouldn't cover my eyes during the gore, but anytime there's a section, she'd be like, Amy-chan, look away. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, The Cell was the first horror movie I saw, and it definitely inspired me and stuck with me. Yeah. And the second question, comedy. The most important comedy, I think, there's 2 in my childhood were She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You, which this movie is like very rom-com inspired and definitely informs like everything that I want to do moving forward.
JTP RX member for 30 months. Chris had me at nudity. All joking aside, looks good, and we'll see this. Where to watch? Streaming? Where can people see it?
So it'll be on VOD on March 25th. It's going to be on like all the platforms, Apple TV, Amazon, Comcast, all those. And if you go and pre-order it through Apple TV, I think that's the only link that's live. And then we're going to have a Blu-ray on April 22nd, and the Blu-ray looks beautiful. So
awesome. Yeah. Aurora uplinks for 2. Have you seen John Boyega in They Cloned Tyrone?
No, but that sounds awesome. I'm going to add it to my letterbox.
Yeah. V Webstuff for 10. Are all horror directors as cool as Aimee? What do you think about the future, what the future holds for theaters, particularly for original films like Cannibal Mukbang? Where would you like to see them go? This movie, I guarantee, would play amazing in theaters.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I would love for it to be in theaters. It's a little tricky being an indie and trying to navigate the theater system right now, unfortunately. Luckily, being based in New York and New Jersey, there are tons of independent cinemas here that I would love for it to play. Like IFC would be a dream. The Roxy would be a dream. Film Forum, like any of those, I would love. Or Metrograph. I'm trying to work that out right now with my distributor and see what we can do. But right now, we don't have any theater dates. It did have about a year, a little more than a year in the festival circuit. So it played a lot of theaters, especially in America and in Australia. It played quite a few.
Yeah. What were the craft services like on Cannibal Mukbang? The film army marches on its stomach, says Patrick Lemire, who's a member.
So funnily enough, I haven't had meat since 2012. So wow. There was a lot of actual like vegan food on set. A lot of people had dietary preferences, so there was a big variety. I used to be a food photographer before I started to do filmmaking full time, and so like it was important to me that people ate well, and I hope that they enjoyed the craft services. I was fine with it, but yeah, there was a wide variety of stuff. No humans though.
Daniel for 5. Aimee, if you had Alan and Chris as extras in a horror film, how would you write their death scenes to be most memorable?
Gee.
Oh gosh.
Ooh, okay. Well, I actually have another movie that I'm trying to make that's like an emo horror movie where the villain like sucks the youth and vitality out of people. So maybe I would do that with you guys. You're so I suck the youth and vitality.
Youth and vitality, that's us.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We might be after the youth and vitality is sucked out.
And apparently California has a lot of tax credits that they just released. So who knows?
There you go.
Hey, I'm trying to make it.
Let's see. Bill S. Preston Esquire says Dexter meets Hannibal Lecter. I like that. Cat G for 3,000 for 10. Guys and Aimee, great live stream and interview. Aimee, you're the most personable interview I've seen in a while. Thank you, Chris and Alan, and best of luck, Aimee. Well,
thank you.
Do Aimee a favor. Cannibal Mukbang is out next Tuesday. Get the movie. You can get the movie. So there you go. Question from Sindek. What was the most challenging aspect of the project, and what was the thing you liked the most about directing?
Ooh, so the most challenging part was just not having a lot of money and not having a lot of time. I had an amazing crew. I wish I had like 10 more days of principal photography. We shot this film in 14 days with 6 days of pickup spread out through the next year. So just not having a lot of time, like literally getting to a location being like, we only have enough money and time to be here for 2 hours. So like, let's get this scene. Wow. So not having a lot of time was definitely the most challenging part. The thing that I liked the most about directing is I just love working with people and I love collaborating. I love just bringing the best out of people in any situation that I can. And I'm so fortunate that I have this community with me right now. Like I have a DP, a gaffer, a composer, and people that I would want to work with for the rest of my life, honestly. So yeah, I think that just connecting with people and seeing this thing that we all put so much blood, sweat, and tears in come to life is the best part.
And last question from Stevie Z for 499. Did you have a violence/gore coordinator?
So I had a special effects like department head. Her name's Ashley Thomas with Yellow Moth makeup. She was great. With the violence, Charlie Burcato was sort of like the person who supervised all of that. We had a big rehearsal day for all of the stunts, and he was fantastic. Like he brought out the big squishy pad for people to jump onto, and he taught people how to fall, and he was great. So I did try to make sure that like no matter what we were doing, everybody felt safe and comfortable.
Thank you so much, Aimee Kuge. I am so excited for this movie. People, there has been a new renaissance in horror that's been happening lately, and so happy that you're a part of it. Congratulations on the film, and come back here when you make your next movie.
I will. Thank you. Also, Chris, you have the best last name ever. I wish my last name was Gore.
Well, you could be Mrs. Gore, but I doubt that would be. Maybe stay away. A warning: do not be Mrs. Gore. You'll be in a lot of trouble. So, but I love the film. What I really love is the romance. It's so sweet, and you see that glossed over in film. There's assumption. You spent time with your characters, falling in love, and you showed the male side so well.
Thank you.
So like just all your characters were well-rounded characters, and as an indie, like I predict an amazing career. Fantastic film. Thank you, Aimee. Come back, and appreciate you.
Thank you.
Time with us. Thank you. Take care. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
But that's not it.
I'm watching it this weekend.
It's so good. Coming out next week. You got to see it. But there are other films coming out.
Oh.
There are other films coming out. We have more films to review on the show. but we have another interview, back-to-back interviews today. That's right. The filmmakers behind Popeye the Slayer Man are here. You know how much I love these public domain horror films? They are, and this one, I saw it this week. It was, well, I'll say it to them. Let's bring on the filmmakers, Popeye the Slayer Man. Hey.
Hello, Chris.
There we go. Hey, Popeye the Slayer Man, director Robert Michael Ryan, and star Sarah Nicklin. So good to see you here, Sarah. I know you through the horror community for a long time. This movie, I'm glad I saw it in a theater. The audience was out of control. I did not expect it to be this funny. Okay. Where did Popeye the Slayer Man go? And I want to show the trailer because I want our audience to see this. Where did you come up with this idea? How did you make it so funny? Tell us about that.
It was one of those things where literally me and my producing partners, Kyle Carvin and Jeff Miller, we were sitting in a bar in North Hollywood talking about what our next movie is. And Kyle was on his phone and he said, "Hey guys, Popeye's public domain in like 18 months. And that's it. Like we're going to do a dark movie in Popeye." And it was just and we just started from there. And from the beginning, my attitude was like, I want to make this. I wanted like an homage to like the 80s horror films. You know, that had a little bit of that campy style to it. So we wanted some humor. We wanted to be a little over the top, and we just wanted to really have a lot of fun with it. And we wanted the audience to have fun with it.
Well, I think the tone definitely you nailed it in the film. Sarah, how did you get involved? I mean, but also, by the way, I know you're a horror fan yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've done a lot of horror movies. Oh, I almost exclusively only watch horror movies. I got involved because I was texting with Kyle, producer, and he mentioned that they were doing another film because Robert and Jeff and Kyle have done many films together. And they were going to be shooting it in upstate New York. And coincidentally, I was going to be in New Hampshire on a different movie at the same time. So the scheduling and the timing just worked out, and they hadn't cast all the roles yet. So Kyle asked Robert and Jeff, who I've also known for 10 years at this point, if they were okay with casting me, and they were, and it worked out. It was really nice and convenient.
Yeah, we were super lucky and excited.
Well, also, how did you gather these actors? They were down. I mean, they were, I mean, pretty sure about everybody gets bloodied in the movie by the end in some form. And how did you gather that crew? And the guy who plays Popeye, who actually, he does have the forearms when you look at the poster.
He's a big dude, yeah.
He's a big dude. He fits the role. How did you gather these people, including Popeye?
Well, Popeye was easy because me and Jason have been friends since the 4th grade. So I've known that guy my whole life, and we've done movies together. He's a director as well, and I've worked on his projects. And so, and he's a retired police officer. He was a cop for 30 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when we were first talking about this and we were talking about Popeye, I said, my first thought was it's got to be Jason because, you know, he looks like Popeye. Like if worst case scenario, if we had an issue with the makeup, we could always just shoot him the way he is and it would probably work. And as far as the rest of the casting, we cast it out of New York, and we took the casting process very seriously. Like, even though we're kind of a small indie film, we really wanted to focus on finding the best actors we could. And some of the people we'd worked with before on a previous film that we did called Ouija Witch, like Sean and Mabel Thomas, and I'm drawing a blank here, but so we worked with a couple people we had. Obviously, Sarah was a great surprise because we knew she was working, and so she contacted and said, "Hey, I'm going to be available for like these 3 days," and we're like, "Oh, that works out perfectly. We'll shoot on this day," and so we were super excited because we worked with Sarah before, and obviously, she's a great actress and a great person in the horror world. So we're like, "Oh, she gets this." But I don't know if we told you, Sarah, that we were going to spray you with blood, but I think it was implied because we told everybody you're going to get bloody in this.
Always.
You're in a horror film, of course.
You're in a horror film.
Yeah.
And she was game because I think we had 4 people with spray hoses for the queue right off camera, just hitting her with blood, and she screamed. Right. It was great. It's an iconic shot of the movie. And I was like, oh, beautiful. That's in the trailer. That's it. We got it. So we just talked to everybody. Everybody did a great job for the casting. We just said, hey, it's a horror film. We're gonna have fun, and everyone's gonna get bloody. Just if you're cool with that, then we're gonna have a great time. And everybody did. So,
well, let's take a look at the trailer for the film. We need 1.5 minutes here. Let's look at it.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
So I had to ask the question because we've been talking about Snow White all week, but what were the discussions like regarding how you honor Popeye himself in your film?
Yeah, and what were the restrictions with IP? I know you couldn't use Bluto. Is that right?
Right. Some of the characters like Bluto and Wimpy, you officially couldn't use them, but like Olive Oil is okay. Obviously Popeye and all the characteristics of Popeye were okay. We actually hired a lawyer and had him give us like a letter of like a review of our script and everything, just to make sure. And they did some research and they said, hey, as long as you stay within these parameters, you're fine, you're covered. So we said, okay. And once we had that, we were kind of ready to go.
Now, in terms of honoring Popeye himself, what were those discussions like as well?
Yeah, so we definitely want to do our own take on Popeye. We didn't want to necessarily go like the cartoony route, because what Popeye became later with the cartoon and everything. We wanted to go basically with the original comic strip Popeye, who was a little more sarcastic, a little more darker, and I think that's what we kind of leaned into. We wanted to go kind of old school with him.
At the same time, I love that I saw it with an audience. Every time, like from the shadows, a little can of open spinach would roll over. Like it just, people burst out laughing. And the guy in the bar, the like sailor telling the grizzled sailor telling the story, the fact that he recurs is so hilarious. Like it's got a whole look. You know what this movie is? It's a and I think and people in the chat, over 2,000 watching. We are going to make a category in award this. It's my annual award show. Film Threat puts it on. We want to make a category that would be like, what's the category? Public domain slasher movie as its own category, because there are a lot of them. The Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Neverland, this movie, like there's Scream Boat coming out in a few weeks. Like I like these movies. I know what they are. Are they good horror films? Do they kind of mock and have fun with the IP? And would they be good films if it wasn't IP, right? Like, would it just be a good movie without that? This one checks all those boxes. So I think this could at least be nominated next year in a new category we create at Award This, because it's something Alan and I just like, let's just do this thing.
That's amazing. Yay.
We have a ton of questions for our chat. Before we go to the questions, the release on the film, I know it's coming to theaters. You can buy tickets at AMC.
So it's being released in select theaters across the country today, starting today, and it's also going to be on VOD starting today. So like Apple and Amazon, Fandango at home, and some other streaming platforms it's going to be on.
So, did you hear that? There is no excuse not to see this movie. You don't have any excuse. So, let's go. There's a ton of questions. So, let me get to these. V Webster for 5. The trailer looks great, Robert. Sarah, what is it about horror that makes it your go-to genre above all others?
Oh, I love the horror community. I love horror fans. I love horror filmmakers. I feel like we all just have a shorthand in our appreciation of the genre. I also feel like in horror movies, you get to do so much more than you get to do in other genres. You have to run the gambit of, being a love interest, being, crying and in peril, being in pain. Whereas, rom-coms, no offense to those, you're only using like one tool in your toolbox, whereas in horror, you get to use absolutely everything. So it's always a blast to work on. Those sets are always the most fun because you're doing so much brutal stuff on camera that everyone is releasing the tension by cracking jokes around it. So I just love it.
I think acting in genre movies is underrated.
I 100% agree.
It's and I frankly, I'll say it. Demi Moore was robbed. Seriously, like she does so much in that film. I'm sorry. All due respect to Honora, I and Mikey Madison. Demi Moore should have gotten it. So there you go.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
So a lot of comments here. Sean Who says you definitely nailed the look of Popeye. Popeye's wide shut, says Patrick Lemire. Darth Maul, I think Robin Williams would have loved this. Says Darth Maul. Khaled, does Popeye pop any eyes? Well, you saw the trailer. It's
no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. It's pretty gory. It delivers on the gore. Let's just say that. What was the spinach budget for this film? Who's a member? Also and I do like that sweet pea and olive oil are in it in some. I don't want to give it away. It plays out. It pays off. But the spinach was like you designed those cans.
Yeah. Yeah. We just went out and got some old school cans that you have to like screw the top off, not the pop off ones, but the old school ones. We had to find a couple cases of those. I designed the label, print them out, dirtied them up, and kind of gave them a vintage look. And then the shots where it rolls into the camera, that's me in the darkness doing 20 takes, trying to get the can to roll just right so it lands on its mark and we can see the can and everything. So that I got pretty good towards the end. I was getting pretty skilled at it. But
the name of the spinach company that you came up with is fantastic too.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that was when we were first talking about the movie at that bar that one night. We were saying we have to have a shot where out of the darkness this can roll, like guys are gonna like beat up some girl and this can rolls out of the darkness and we that final shot in the can. And so I was so happy that came out exactly the way we had kind of envisioned it.
Yeah. Aid Ellis 24, is Popeye a character that you had a deep knowledge and love for before learning he was coming into public domain, or were you just familiar with his place in pop culture?
Sarah, you're the young one here.
I'm not that young. I actually never really watched the Popeye cartoons when I was growing up. I knew he was part of our culture. Like I knew who he was. I knew he loved spinach. You can't get away from Popeye and spinach. But I did not. I have learned so much about Popeye and about public domain just from doing this movie that I really did not know before.
A comment here from the Introspect M. Not sure if it's true or maybe it once was, but I've heard Popeye is the most recognizable character around the world.
Wow, I didn't know that, but
so
I hope so. Yeah,
I hope your international distributor is doing their job.
Yeah. Here from the nerd far away. Hail, Ryan and Sarah. Just for funsies, have either of you been to the Popeye Village in Malta?
I have not, but so it's fun. I was doing another interview with a friend who is currently shooting a movie in Malta, and he is actually going to go and visit the Popeye Village while he is there to celebrate and support Popeye.
Oh, that's awesome. And 8 Ellis 24 asks, have you seen Robert Altman's Popeye film? Was there anything after watching that you tried to either avoid or do a homage in your own film?
I was obsessed with that movie when I was a little kid. It played in the 80s and I grew up in the 80s. So I've seen that movie more times than I can count. We definitely, the little bit of campiness, well, that movie had a lot of campiness, but we definitely wanted to lean into that. And I think the kind of like, what's like the heart that's in the film. Like we tried to find a little bit of heart in our Popeye film. So our Popeye's not just this mindless killing machine. Like there's a heart to him that's revealed as the movie plays out. So that's kind of what we were going for. And I hope that comes across in a kind of similar way as to the Altman film.
You made Popeye a protector, honestly.
Yeah.
Like he's not, as you said, he's not just a mindless killing machine. He's protecting his space and protecting what he perceives to be his family. He's a bit of a tragic hero, kind of like the old Universal monsters.
Yeah.
And then Bluto is potential sex offender, Bluto. Maybe it's good that Bluto wasn't in the
He's a
movie.
harasser.
Yeah. Razor Burn says, Robert and Sarah, is there a specific film that got you into making horror? Too bad you couldn't cast Robin Williams, R.I.P. But was there a specific horror movie that made you love horror or get into horror filmmaking?
I'm curious what Sarah's answer is to this.
There was not a specific one for me. I actually just kind of fell into doing horror movies. I was fairly sheltered growing up, and I wasn't really allowed to watch them. So my consumption and love of horror really occurred later in life as I started to work in the horror genre. And horror is also just a very loyal community. So once you start working in it, then you work in it more. So it wasn't a specific choice, but the more that I worked in it, the more I consumed it, the more and more and more I loved it.
Yeah. What's funny is I learned this only recently, both Alan and I, on an interview. The majority of horror fans are women. Did you know that?
I've heard that.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Wow.
I think it speaks to, women a lot of times, not to get too political or anything, but in our society, we are, quote unquote prey. We are the fairer sex, quote unquote weaker sex. And so I think there is something therapeutic about being able to watch a horror movie and have all of these horrible things happen without them physically threatening you in the actual space while you're watching it.
Yeah, and then the triumph at the end.
And horror really celebrates women. Like Final Girls, that's a very it's a very female dominated, female focused genre.
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
In this film, we also wanted to stress that we didn't want all the women to just be like victims. We wanted them all to have some power. And like Elena Juliana, who played the lead, Olivia, we wanted her to really have like the strong voice in the film, and even like the campy stuff where Seth is flirting with Lisa and it's so cheesy, but she, instead of like going, "Oh, you're so hot," she's just like, "Oh God, this guy's an idiot." We wanted to really have some fun with it and not just be so typical of what you expect from this kind of a horror film.
Yeah, well, you pulled it off, and there's a good balance. There are good men, there are bad men. There are protectors and ones that are abusive. And I think you pulled it off really well. There's a lot more to the film. And let's end on this question. Easy one. What is your favorite horror film from Solomon Thornton?
So whenever I get asked that question, I always say you have to pick a subgenre because there is too many.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's slasher. Is it supernatural? Is it a zombie? Because you can't compare them. They're all different. But my general stock answer for that is we'll just go with the old classic Halloween. It's a perfectly original, John Carpenter's, or The Thing by John. There's a lot.
By the way, The Thing is playing this weekend at the Academy Museum. John Carpenter will be there with Guillermo del Toro. You can get tickets for like I'm going on Saturday with my friend Shane. We're going to see The Thing, one of my all-time favorite films. In 4K at the Academy Museum. Just a little tip for people out there that are fans.
I think I also just saw that he's finally getting a star on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Finally.
Nice. Robert, do you have an answer for a favorite horror film?
Well, I mean, as Sarah said, it's like there's so many horror films that I love, like that are different. Like Jaws is a great example of a great horror film that doesn't have a typical horror thing. The Thing and Halloween, of course, is so iconic. But for me, whenever somebody asks me that question, I always go, but the first thing that pops in my head, which is I watch it. If I ever see it on TV, I'll watch it until it ends. Is The Exorcist. I just, to me, that's such a great suspense building horror that just gets worse and worse as it goes, and that always struck a chord with me.
My stock answer: Night of the Living Dead, original 1968.
Oh yeah,
that haunted me. The way it ends, the ending, just so dark. Awesome. Sarah and Robert, thank you for joining us. Popeye the Slayer Man is in theaters and on VOD. And I can't wait to see. Is there a sequel in the works?
Very early stages. I mean, we're getting a really great response. We're getting out there, and everyone's responding really great to it. And so we're confident it's going to be very successful. And so we're basically talking about how quickly do we want to get the next one out. But we really want to, for a sequel, you have to do more, do bigger, and we really want to just top what we did with this film. And so we have to discuss like how we're going to do that without, kind of cutting any corners. We really want to do a quality sequel.
I've got one word for you. Bluto. Bluto and
in the public domain yet?
That's the issue, yeah.
That is, you have to make that happen.
Yeah.
Sarah and Robert, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the movie. It is a blast in theaters with friends, and congratulations again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Alan.
Cool. Take care. See you guys later.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
That was
awesome. I love it.
Popeye brings up a lot of memories because for old people like me who lived in LA, Sunday mornings, Channel 5, Tom Hatton was the Popeye morning. And and then every month he would give you a drawing lesson on how to draw Popeye. So I'm very familiar with Popeye.
I grew up watching Popeye, and of these public domain horror films, this is one of the best I've seen, along with one I'm going to review in a couple weeks.
I will definitely see it.
They've not all been great, but some have been really good.
I heart Willie.
Cool. All right. It's time for us to review the last few films on our list. Magazine Dreams. Alan, let's talk about Magazine Dreams. And I'm talking right now, stalling.
Yes, because you're waiting. The stupid. Okay, there we go.
Great. Let's talk about Magazine Dreams. This is the movie to remind people that Jonathan Majors starred in, that everyone who saw it at Sundance said he's going to get an Oscar.
Yeah.
He is going to get an Oscar a couple years ago. And they were set to release this film. And then the charges came out about Jonathan Majors being a potential abuser of a woman he was in a relationship with. The film Magazine Dreams was shelved, but now it's in theaters this weekend. Alan, tell us the basic story and we will talk about it. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah. Well, we should not be lost on the fact that Magazine Dreams came out at the height of Jonathan Majors' career. That's how far he fell.
His rise. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jonathan Majors plays an aspiring bodybuilder named Killian Maddox. His dream is to have a body so perfect that he would appear on the cover of a bodybuilding magazine. He had a specific hero, which I don't remember the name of it, but he lives in this small town. There's a girl he's kind of fancies at the supermarket he works at. He lives with his grandfather. Also, Killian maybe have some cognitive or developmental issues. And what this movie really is about is this slow decline in this character in terms of his status in the community. It opens with a paint job gone wrong for his grandfather. He hired these painters to come in, paint it. They did a bad job. He can't convince them to come back and fix it, and so he goes over there and just tears the store apart. And from there, these seemingly violent acts just kind of escalate, and his character goes downward. While at the same time, he is training to become a great bodybuilder. And so while his personal life is going down, his physique, his muscular physique is going up. And this movie just kind of documents the next, I would say, 2 to 3 months of his life. And I'll let you say what you want to say about it. I'll just say that it's a very bleak and dark film.
It's very bleak and dark because, I mean, Jonathan Majors, yes, he's fantastic. I'm not sure if this would have gotten him nominated. He's not a really likable character.
But it checks a hell of a lot of boxes.
Right. And he is unaware. He's, I mean, maybe on the spectrum. Is he autistic? Is he slightly mentally not all there. He's certainly not self-aware. He is really fascinating, but it goes to such a dark place in the end that I just wonder if he would have, if this movie came out during award season, if he would have in fact been nominated. And this
I think he would have. I think he would have
because of checking the boxes. But man, the ending is so dark. Obviously, no spoilers, but my God, it had it gave me Taxi Driver vibes. It really felt that kind of dark, clueless character, not aware. One of the scenes that really goes off the rails, he has this a counselor that kind of tries to tell him, it's important to form friendships. He goes out on a date with a girl who works at the grocery store he works and confesses some things about himself where she is just frightened beyond belief. There are moments, and then he is sending letters to the bodybuilder he admires. I forget.
Brad Vanderhorn.
Yeah. And he's almost like kind of stalkerish with this guy. He's played by a guy named Mike O'Hearn, who has to be he's obviously a real bodybuilder in real life. And just he's unaware that what he's doing is making people uncomfortable. But if you like character studies, if you like movies that are challenging, if you like indie movies that go to a dark place, I recommend it. If none of those things appeal to you, don't see it.
Yeah.
So this is a recommend with a warning. Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, this was too much for me. His decline goes so far down, and the ultimate place he lands, I remember seeing in theater going, I wish I could just walk out right now.
Yeah.
And this is an Oscar bait movie, 100%. And I think that's the sole reason this movie exists. As you say, it's intentionally, everything in this movie is intentional, in the sense that where the direction this character goes is just awful. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that he puts himself in these positions. He's so self-unaware that, you're screaming at the screen going, no, make the better choice.
Yeah.
But he continually has to go. And then it gets to a point, a very controversial point, where in my mind, it's like, okay, I'm done. This is, I get where they wanted to go, but the way they're getting there, I'm out and I'm done. And so I'm not going to give this movie a recommendation at all.
Well,
but I understand why people will, and why this is Oscar bait.
Look, I recommend it for Jonathan Majors' performance. I can see why Marvel wanted him to play King. I get it.
Yeah.
He can go to dark places.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I believe his choices with Kang were pretty bad. So,
well, what they gave him, I mean, with Loki, that was the Kang. What is he going to do with that?
Exactly. So a recommend from me with a warning, a 9 out of 10 for Jonathan Majors' performance, a 6 out of 10 for the movie. I know that seems weird, but Jonathan Majors, it's the best thing I've seen him in. Better than Creed 3, better than anything as Kang. It's the best thing he's done.
It's his best acting job in terms of character development.
Yes.
And the portrayal of the character. I will say that if you are into dark, pretentious Oscar shit, this is the movie to see.
I'm into that sometimes. Yeah. I'm into that.
Otherwise, a hard pass.
Okay. Let's go to comments here. I know we forgot some of these. Axel's Abode, remember, for 7 months, Alan is getting his diversity in the last 2 interviews. And Amy Mayumi became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Amelia Clark Scroll Arm. Amelia Clark Scroll Arm. These violent delights have violent ends. BMO Better. I wonder if this role influenced Jonathan in his real life.
Yeah, you can't not think about it while you're watching it.
EMS says Alan is a talented reviewer. good communication. I know, I love Alan. I don't have to like agree with Alan. I don't have to like, I wish he had better internet. I do. I wish.
I think I need to buy a new computer.
I think that's, yeah. But you know, well, yeah, this is why we're a team. It's not, stop trying to drive us apart. Bone Saw is ready. Sounds interesting. I loved Nightcrawler and other movies about unlikable protagonists. Sounds like an interesting watch. Yes,
there you go. There you go.
I will not eat the bugs. There are a few bleak, depressing movies that I like, but sometimes they can be a bit much. Yeah, we want to review 2 more movies: Popeye the Slayer Man and The Assessment. So if you could get that ready, Alan. Excuse me. I'm going to go off camera for a second.
All right. You can go with that assessment, but let's take a look.
Sounds good.
William, member for 8 months. Alan, when Chris finally sends me my MacBook, I'll send it to you. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah,
you have
work.
MacBooks. You have.
I have an old one from 2010. I love it. Let's talk about The Assessment. The Assessment is a science fiction film about a dystopian future in which humanity is sparse, living in places that are sealed away from the outside, the terrors of the outside, where people do not live long. Within a protective dome, people are living into their hundreds, but life is very structured, and any procreation must be regulated by the government. They will assess a couple to see if they're worthy of having a child. A couple played by Himish Patel and, of course, Elizabeth Olsen. They play Mia and Aryan. They work at home. They work out of their homes. Aryan works on digital animals. He creates them. Elizabeth Olsen's character, she's a botanist who works with plants. She has an orchid that represents her mother that she has kept alive for a long time. And an assessor comes out to visit them. And really, that's where things go amok. And the assessor is named Virginia, played by Alicia Vikander. And she comes to assess them based on their parenting skills. And during the course of this assessment, she's trying to see how they react to when a child may be put in situations. Virginia starts acting like a child. She's at breakfast, throwing things on the floor. She's testing their patience. She takes a liking to the father figure, Aryan, but is in conflict with the mother, Mia, who is frustrated with her. And she spends a week in their home asking them questions and putting them through various trials and tests. This is a Black Mirror episode extended into a feature. It was a little tiresome in the middle, but I have to say, had a surprise ending that I quite enjoyed. It's good to see Elizabeth Olsen not play a superhero. Hamish Patel, I've also liked in other roles. He's very good and very different for him. This might have made a better 1 hour Black Mirror episode, but what it really does is drive home the type of responsibility and the types of simple everyday challenges that face all parents. Danger of death or harm coming to a child. Even one of the trials is assembling a toy house, which ends up being incredibly frustrating. And when they assemble it, there's one piece left over. They can't figure out how they have one leftover piece that they then hide from their assessor because that might be count against them. It's very smart. It's a little long, might have made better at 90 minutes, but in the end, I really like the assessment, mainly because of the performances of the three leads, Elizabeth Olsen, Alicia Vikander, and Hamish Patel. So I'm giving it a decent recommend, 6.5 to 7 in that range. Again, if you're not into sci-fi, you're not going to like to begin with, but I also think from a premise standpoint, might have been better as Black Mirror, but I like low budget horror. It's sci-fi. It's low budget sci-fi, and what it grapples with is ideas. There's some, spectacle, and you get some tastes of what the outside might be and what technology is like. So, but in the end, a good low budget sci-fi that gets a slight recommend from me, and there you go.
What is
Alan,
the tone of the film? Is it comedic, creepy, ironic?
I mean, funny things happen. It's not comedic at all. But humorous things occur, but it's not funny. It's not funny at all.
So
and
it's straight drama then.
It's straight drama. And God, Alicia Vikander, she's so annoying, but then you realize like why she's doing all this, and that's what makes it worth it in the end.
Okay.
So let's go to comments.
This one wasn't on my list. JPTRX. Wow, dystopian future. I haven't seen this before.
Yeah.
Tim is not funny. Sounds a bit like Gattaca, which is great.
Yeah.
Like Gattaca?
Make
Okay.
a good double feature.
All right. Marco, sounds like China.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty. And from Khalid, Chris has been nailing the analogies. The video game one, the Black Mirror one, they instantly convey to me what he means.
Oh, well, thank you, Khaled. I appreciate that. One last film to review. We just had them on the show. Let's talk about. All good.
That was you.
Hey,
That was totally you.
You know what? Crazy things happened today. My camera didn't work. Problems with posters. We have poster problems. Yeah. Some people have princess problems. We had poster problems. We're gonna work it out.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you focused on those banners, you would have chosen the right one.
Someone got their facts wrong about Snow White. Thankfully, Alan came in to save the day.
Twice. We have fun at Film Threat in the midst of chaos. And what's a lot of fun? Popeye the Slayer Man. I am, that I love horror. Alan only likes horror when Mickey Mouse is involved, apparently. Or Popeye.
Or Winnie the Pooh.
I'll see this.
Yeah, so Popeye the Slayer Man, it's you know what? The title is what the movie is. There is it's great. There's an old abandoned warehouse. With on the warehouse, it says Anchor Bay, which might be a tribute to the Anchor Bay Entertainment Company that put out a lot of classic horrors. They put out 700 versions of Evil Dead. I love Anchor Bay. But Popeye the Slayer Man is one of those public domain horror films, of which there's a bunch of those these days. And I like them when they kind of hit the right tone. You cannot take this movie seriously. There's just no way to take this movie seriously. It's directed by Robert Michael Ryan with a cast of people you've seen pop up, so to speak, in other horror films. The guy who plays Popeye is, we learned, an ex-cop, Jason Robert Steffens, who I met this dude. Okay, he's been making indie movies for a long time, and he is built like a brick S-house, okay? Big guy. So the only thing I think they added were the forearms, which are very accurate to the design of the original Popeye. And what I want to know, does the movie entertain? From the opening scene in the warehouse, where from the darkness, a can of opened spinach rolls into frame, which got a burst of laughter from the audience. There is contaminated spinach at this warehouse. This contaminated spinach has now created the monster that is Popeye. And like a lot of slasher / horror films that I think, like a character like Freddy, in Nightmare on Elm Street or other horror icons that are like likable because they do good things. They take out the bad people. And that's why Popeye the Slayer Man is something of a hero. He kills, he doesn't really know what he's doing, and most of the time he kills the people who really deserve it. In a movie where you'll find splattered heads, broken bones, and some really crazy dumb deaths that get a burst of laughter from the audience. So it's in theaters and on VOD. I'm recommending it. I had a blast, fun in a theater, and I think it's worth checking out. Again, this is also leading Alan and I to consider, we can decide right now, there needs to be a category at Award This of public domain slasher movies. There's enough movies that, in fact, the Oscars has a rule. If there are enough musicals, you do know there's an Oscar for best musical. If enough musicals are made in a year where they've got 5 that could be nominated, that the Academy does it. If there are, and I believe there already are, enough of these public domain horror films, that will be a category at Award This. But I had a blast, and yes, it was gory. It delivered the gore. So I had a good time. Alan, any thoughts? You saw the trailer earlier.
I saw the trailer. I am definitely going to see this. Do you say it's coming out limited release, or is it coming
limited at AMC? It's at AMC theaters now. Like, just search the movie.
Okay.
So,
and
I grew up watching the cartoon, and I will say, like other characters, I don't want to say how. Olive Oil, Sweet Pea may make appearances. You'll see. Bluto is not in it, but Bluto's rights have not come out
They're
yet.
not public domain yet, and I believe
Not yet, but I
think you said
but
Wimpy was in the same situation.
Yeah, Wimpy. Although there is a character that's interested in hamburgers, so there might be a little reference. But look, it's fun.
Would he pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today?
He would.
Yes. All right, and so far I have 3 public domain slashers that would qualify at the moment: Popeye the Slayer Man, Neverland, and I Heart Willie. So it'd be we can probably do it.
Screamboat is not out yet. That's Mickey Mouse.
All right, that's 4.
There you go.
So I believe we have critical mass.
I'm recommending it if you love horror and you like to laugh. Let's go to comments here as we wrap up.
Okay, I will not eat the dogs or the cats. Does Wimpy
bugs.
show up and ask for a hamburger? He'll gladly pay back next Tuesday.
There is a Wimpy reference.
All right. A Bonesaw is ready. Is he better than Robin Williams, even though that movie was shit?
It's different than that because he's a horror.
Yeah. Bumbledore, you need to take out bad people in horror movies like Teenage Fornicators. One Punch Man Tolkien fan. Are we sure this Popeye is not a big fan of the band Slayer?
Wait for the sequel.
Patrick Lemire, Alan will gladly pay you Tuesday for a new computer today.
I love that. Oh, that's great. Oh, man. And one lastly, hey. Thanks. Thanks to our mod, MK Solid. Thanks for Lori getting those posters. Also burdened with bad internet like Alan. We will solve this problem. We will solve it. Hey, look, the show may not be perfect, but if anything, we try to be entertaining. So we thank you, those that sent in super chats, those that commented and participated in the chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Alan, what do you got going on this weekend?
I will be, apparently I'm seeing Popeye the Slayer Man at AMC this weekend.
And thanks to Lord Thoth too. We appreciate Lord Thoth. I am going to, guess where I'm going? I'm going to Universal Studios theme park today with my friend Shane.
Oh,
who's here from Atlanta. And then we're going to see The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, at the Academy Museum on Saturday night. Tickets are still available. They're like $10.
Yeah.
No excuse not to go. So
I may go to the screening before that, which is Mary Poppins.
Hey, let me know if you're there. We'll meet you there.
All right.
We'll meet you at the
I'll see if I can
museum.
work it out.
Yeah. Text me.
Okay.
You never text me.
Yeah, because I feel like I bother people when I text them.
I want to be bothered by Alan.
I texted you. I said, "Hey, I got a table." That was
Yeah, I got a table. Whatever, it's all good. Hey, this was in spite of the most technical problems we've had in some time, this turned out to be a fun show. I just like hanging out with Alan and talking about movies.
Yeah.
Even though his computer sucks.
Yeah. Well, one Mars Monkey Man Max asks, Shane is trying to sound like an imaginary friend.
He was here earlier. He's crashing at my place.
I guess my question is Tyler jealous?
Yes. Tyler is jealous.
Okay.
There you go. So, hey, thank you, everyone. We'll be back Monday with Versus. Have a great weekend. What?
One last thing. Libra All Woman. Is Piers Morgan's episode with Chris airing today?
I believe it is.
Okay.
I believe it is. So thank you for that. Awesome. All right. Yeah, I'm on Piers Morgan. For 2 minutes. So don't blink and you'll see me. Have a great weekend, everybody. Alan?
Let's get out of here.